What is happening, everyone? Welcome to Cockney Red 99 here, and I'm here on the Crafty Couple, here with two of my favourite people, Amy from It's U18 and Mr. Keane Franey. How are you two getting on?
Good, not too bad.
Very good, no. Thanks for asking, Owen. I'm delighted to be back here on the show.
Good to be back, and good to be in another semi-final. Hopefully, we'll have more joy to this one. I mean, Keane, mate, what was your thoughts of the game last night? It was a bit of a nervy one, for a bit. Granada did have a few chances, but we did come away with it comfortably in the end. What was your thoughts on it, mate?
Well, I was on social media last night, Owen, as I do, and there was a lot of negative Nancy's on social media last night. It's where we were after getting beat 2-0 and get put out of the Europa League. But no, look, professional performance. Again, Cavani, well taken goal. I thought he was good last night in terms of his movement. Paul Pogba again, showing us why he should stay at this football club. That yellow card was a disgrace, in my opinion. But look, overall, Granada did have a couple of chances, but again, you can talk about them getting chances, but we're missing a couple of key players in defensive areas, so we're always going to be a bit more vulnerable than previous weeks. But in saying that, clean sheet, 2-0 win, on to the next round against Roma. And look, it's business as usual. Burnley on the weekend, which when you look at this, 12 months ago, Burnley, that was a turning point in our season last season, which we'll get to in a bit because I've actually something to pop up here with that game. But big turning point last season. And look, let's hope this can be a massive kind of boost to kind of push on and cement second place.
Please tell me that isn't my fan cam from Burnley. I really hope it is.
It's not. No, it's not your fan cam from Burnley.
That would be a horrendous thing for me to revisit. I've tried to forget about those days. Ames, what do you think now coming forward into the semi-final against Roma? I mean, at the moment, we've had more joy with semis than lads coming home at 3 o'clock in the morning after a night on the beer and the bugle. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking Ollie knows now that he needs to win something. So I feel like, look, we all know what they're capable of. Like, we've seen second half against Spurs last weekend. We've seen games over the season. They're well capable of putting up a good fight. So obviously our confidence isn't going to be great as fans because we know our reputation going into semi-finals, but hopefully we can push on and push through this one.
Hopefully we can push on. And then, I mean, it could be a Banter FC final, Keane. I mean, it could be the Twitter battle final. The Twitter battle final is what I'll call it. Not the Banter FC, the Twitter battle final. In terms of Man United versus Arsenal. I mean, the United stand versus AFTV, Goldbridge versus DT. It's become an internet sort of a thing because we're probably the two most followed clubs in the country, definitely. Anyway, Liverpool are up and around there as well. But in terms of vocal and social media, it's definitely United and Arsenal. And that would be a very big Europa League final, man. Are you excited about the prospect of that?
Excited, but also my bum would be flapping at 1,000 miles an hour if we get Arsenal at Europa League final.
Flapping left, right, and centre, mate. That would be that.
Yeah. Yeah, literally, you look at that, they're news to them. Not only is a loss in the final, but we would have to listen to it for about 6 or 7 years. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, Arsenal and their fans, they're just wind-up merchants, aren't they? So, I think you have to look at it and say, I think they're probably the most threatening team we can have because they're not even great, but they've had Ollie's number in the last kind of 2 years. So I think they're probably the team that are most capable of beating us. I look at the rest of the three, and I think we've enough to beat any of the rest of them, like Villarreal or Roma. So, I think you have to look at that and say, the three teams that we can possibly face. I think you have to look at Arsenal as the biggest threat. And again, social media wind up. Imagine if we win that game. Never mind lose it, but if we win that game, I'll be hounding every fucker in Ireland and the UK that's an Arsenal fan. I think DT will have to block me because I'll just be ruthless.
I'm surprised you're not blocked by him already, to be honest, mate. Your block list is probably longer than most people's accepted one. But look, we're happy bunnies. We're probably going to be Europa League champions of the world. But now we move on to the fixtures this weekend. We've got one tonight, which I'll be watching in a lovely beer garden with a nice pint of Cobra while you lot watching in the comfort of your own living rooms. It's Everton versus Spurs tonight, and Everton have had a sort of a mixed bag this season. Everyone thought they were doing quite well, and they've just sort of fallen off. And now they're sort of coming coming back into it, Bits is asking if you are sober tonight as well, Amy. I mean, that is the case, thankfully.
Yeah.
I mean, it is called the Crafty Couple for a reason. We do like to have a few beers on a Friday. But as I was saying, Everton have had a bit of a mixed bag this season. Obviously, breaking that duck against Liverpool and winning at Anfield, a massive result for them. But they're still behind us, Liverpool. And it looks like they're going to fall away from it a bit, maybe not even getting the top 6 or 7, really, and even get Europa League football. I mean, Keane, how do you see this one going? Do you see Spurs having a bounce back here, or Everton maybe going to sort of push on towards the end of the season?
I think Everton will have a push. I think when you look at the game earlier on the season, Everton done quite well against Spurs. And I think, look, Ancelotti's a shrewd manager. He always sets his teams up well. And I think Spurs are on a downward spiral the last couple of weeks. And it was just great. It was just fantastic to see Paul Pogba have a masterclass against Jose Mourinho last week. It was
beautiful, mate. It was
therapeutic.
It was spectacular.
This is the word I'm going to use. I'm going to take it out of Flex's mouth because I've seen Flex tweet about it this morning. It was therapeutic. That's exactly what it was. But yeah, Jose Mourinho is finished. Carlo Ancelotti is going to put yet another nail in Jose Mourinho coffin. And yeah, I'm really confident Everton are going to go and win this. I'd probably go 3-1 Everton.
3-1 Everton. I mean, their FA Cup game was absolutely mental. I think it was 5-4 to Everton in the end. So hopefully something like that. Bit of entertainment tonight for me to be sitting in my beer garden enjoying whilst I'm sipping that cold pint. I mean, Ames, what are you thinking? Do you think it's going to be a free scoring game while your sister or someone is shouting there in the background?
Someone outside, sorry.
Look, you got to enjoy what you can, and playing a bit of football outside seems to be the only thing in Ireland at the moment.
I will say I think it's actually going to be quite tight, to be honest, because I think Jose might be out for blood. He's going to be looking for 3 points in this one, but I do think Everton will edge it, to be honest with you. So I'm going to say 2-1 Everton.
2-1. Bits is saying 3-1. Rach is saying 3-0. I mean, I'm gonna agree with yourself, Ames. I'm gonna say 2-1 Everton. Bits is coming with a possibility here. If we win the Europa League, I know we'll all go mental, mate. But a bit more to that, we'll get to it, 100%. But moving on to Saturday then, and it is a bit of a weird weekend because we sort of got midweek fixtures now as a result of the FA Cup semi-finals. But we start with Newcastle West Ham at 12:30. I'm not going to be getting up for that. Keane, are you, mate?
I'm working in the morning, so I'll be up anyway. Who's playing against Newcastle and who?
West Ham.
West Ham, Jesse Lingard. All the way. West Ham win. Absolutely.
Jesse Lingardinho to get a brace. I mean, Ames, are you thinking on the same line? He's going to absolutely tear it up.
Yeah, I think it'll be West Ham win on this one. I think it might be a bit inevitable.
Who's going to score for Amy?
Fuck off.
Don't be taking a mic. But Bits has said if we win the Europa League, the Super Cup is in Windsor Park in Belfast. And he says, let's all travel. I don't know if Bits pays attention to the news and sees the orange order mark was going on, but I don't quite fancy a petrol bomb being chucked against my head. So I'm going to probably give that one a miss, especially considering the time of year it is, August. I'm all right for all of that stuff. Don't need that in my. Don't need that at the moment. Yeah, don't need to be listening to them boys playing their drums and wrecking the place. But now we move on to Southampton versus Palace, which is postponed. Sorry, read it out from the wrong list. We move on to the later fixture, which is Wolves versus Sheffield United, which is at 8:15. Wolves have been a bit of an up and down season. Obviously, getting that good result against Fulham with that late winner. They're comfortable. Not going to really threaten. Sort of, I'd say probably around the sort of 12 mark. I'd say. But Sheffield United are done and dusted now, really, aren't they? I mean, Keane, how do you see this one playing out? Are Wolves going to sweep them aside?
I see nothing more than Wolves win, to be quite honest. I think Sheffield United dead and buried. It's been like that since November, really. Like, you know what I mean? It's been just since the start of the season. They've been shocking. So, like, look, for us, I think from Irish perspective, it's not been great because they've quite a few Irish players who are in the squad. But look, I do see Wolves winning 2-0, but again, they're relegated now, so maybe Sheffield United have no pressure. Maybe they'll go out and maybe just play for their spots for next season in the Championship. Because what happens when you get relegated is a lot of players get sold, and they try obviously cut costs. So some of the players might want to keep a place in the Sheffield United team next season. Maybe they give them extra motivation. But look, I think that's more wishful thinking than anything else.
I mean, what is going to happen with poor old Ryan Brewster? I mean, he signed for 25 million, and it looks like he's going to be the next Dominic Solanke probably in terms of he might get one towards the end of the season and do all right in the Championship next year. I mean, Ames, what's your thought on this one? Is Sheffield United going to get something out of this, or are Wolves just going to comfortably win it?
No, I think Wolves are going to edge this one, to be honest with you. Sheffield United have only like one win in the last 6. They've lost all the rest, so I don't see them doing much, to be honest with you. So, yeah, I'd say Wolves winning this one.
Wolves win. And then we go on to the FA Cup, which is also on that day. It's the 5:30, and it's Chelsea City. And absolutely gutted that we're also not in the other semi-final, because it would have been fans of the club that were in the local area, and I'm about a 10-minute drive from Wembley, so probably would have got a ticket. So fuming. But we move on from that. But Chelsea are playing City, and we obviously don't want City to win the quadruple. We probably want Leicester or Southampton to win it, but got to keep City out of a final. Chelsea to win it. Ames, are you thinking the same?
I'd rather Chelsea win it than City. I think Chelsea will put up a good fight, to be honest with you, but I don't know, it's a close one, because I think with Chelsea at the minute, they are improving, and I think they're a tiny bit like United in a way where they're waiting on these moments of madness to score their goals. So while City are more fluent, I'm going to go with Chelsea win.
For a Chelsea win there, Ames. I mean, Keane, what are you thinking, mate? Are the Rent Boys going to do a job, or are those dirty blue bastards going to get it? I mean, either way, it's a double-edged sword. I'm not going to like whoever wins.
Look, I'm going to be honest here. I never want Chelsea to win a game of football in my whole entire life, but this weekend, do you know what I mean? Chelsea, Chelsea, Chelsea is what I'll be fucking chanting tomorrow night. Honest to God. I want to see an absolute Mason Mount fucking masterclass. I just want to see a Mason Mount masterclass. Let's hope Timo Werner can pick up his Leipzig boots and become that player that we all thought he was going to be. But real talk, I think when you look at Pep Guardiola and you look at Thomas Tuchel and you look at their both styles of play, Thomas Tuchel and the way he sets up could be detrimental to City, the way City play. You look last season when Pep used to come up against Oli, and Oli used to play 5 at the back, and Pep used to have a big problem breaking that down. Chelsea have that similar setup coming into this game. They're going to play their 3-4-3 or 3-5-2, and they've done very well in that setup, and they haven't conceded many goals this season. Now, look, you can look at the West Brom game. They got a player sent off. That was an anomaly. That won't happen if that 5-2 doesn't happen if they have 11 players on the pitch. But like, I look at this, I think N'Golo Kante, you need a big game out of him. You need a big game out of Mount. I think Thiago Silva fit is very crucial to them winning this game. But at the same time, you look at Manchester City, they can play with the false 9. They have a lot of movement up top. Phil Foden seems to be really coming of age. So it's really a case of Mount versus Foden, who could win the game for both teams. And look, both teams play decent football, but for me, I'm hoping, rather than expecting, but I'm hoping Chelsea can go out and get a result and we stop this quadruple. Because we didn't get through against Leicester. If any team was going to stop in the FA Cup, it would have been us, because Ollie has a voodoo over Pep. But I'm hoping Thomas Tuchel can maybe have the same. And I'm going to go Chelsea winning on penalties. I'll go Chelsea winning on penalties. It'll be a tight affair. We'll be all sweating on it, but I'll go Chelsea winning on penalties.
I don't think any of us want that. That's just too nervous. And I mean, especially with the way we've seen that Riyad Mahrez finished one against Dortmund the other day. I'm not too confident about that one.
If you look at City taking penalties this season, apart from that, like that penalty against Dortmund, they have been shocking. Like, that's one penalty out of how many that they've scored, But again, I just love to see him go out in a dramatic way. And then, do you know what I mean? What's the first thing I'd be doing if they go out?
I'd love to see him get battered 5-0. That'd be a.
What's the first thing that happens What's the first thing that happens when City go out at the FA Cup tomorrow night? Keane picks up his phone. Doesn't matter what happens Sunday. I'm becoming an absolute keyboard warrior.
Keyboard warrior movements. I mean, Keane's moving like an Arsenal fan this weekend, regardless of the result. But I mean, talking about keyboard warrior FC, they are playing Fulham at home at 1:30, and I mean, it's Fulham, isn't it? I think they're gone now. They're 6 points off. They have got a game in hand, but I think they're gone, to be honest. I think Scott Parker's, he looks like he's done an all right job. But, I mean, for the level of the team that he has, if you compare it to a lot of the teams around them, I think they've got a better starting 11 than Newcastle. I mean, player for player, really. So I think he should probably be doing a better job than what they are already. But, look, I think they're gone pretty much. I think the bottom three will stay as it is, despite a late push from West Brom. But I mean, Arsenal, Keane. I mean, this was the game where this is where the Arsenal fans genuinely thought that Willian would be a good talent for him in the first game of the season when he got 3 assists, and he fell off a cliff ever since. He's only got 2 more ever since now in the all season. But Keane, what do you think, mate? Is Scotty Parker going to pull off some magic, or is Willian going to do something amazing? I mean, who knows?
Well, do you know what, though? I know you say Fulham are 6 points down with a game in hand, but they play good football. I think Scott Parker has done a good job this season. Like, for a team to come up the championship and look how defensively vulnerable they have been at the start of the season, they did pick up some great results. And for me, I think Arsenal coming off a massive win in the Europa League, 4-0, they put life, body and soul into that game. They obviously have to travel back from Prague. They will have like 1-2 days training before early kick-off on the Sunday. Fatigue's going to set in. I don't think it would be kind of a shootout for Arsenal as it usually would be. I think it's either going to be a 1-1 draw or we'll see an Arsenal sneak a 2-1. I don't think it'll be as distant as other people think, but it'll either be a 1-1 draw or Arsenal will nick a win.
Yeah, I mean, Ames, are you thinking along those lines as well? Are you thinking a draw? Do you think maybe even a sneaky win for Fulham and Scotty Parker and his boys?
Yeah, I'm not even joking. I think Fulham might win it. I think Arsenal are so inconsistent in the league, to be honest, John. I think they're going to try and focus on Europa League as much as they can now, because there's no way they're getting Europa League at this stage. But yeah, I think Fulham are going to win it. But I think it might be like a 1-0.
1-0. I mean, I think Fulham would take a 1-0. I think Fulham are going to take any result that comes their way at this stage of the season, the way they are. I mean, I personally can't see anything but an Arsenal win. I could maybe possibly see a draw, but I'm going to go for an Arsenal win here, but a bit narrow one. I'm going to say 1-0 Arsenal. Then we move on to our main event of the weekend. Not everyone else's, but it's we're playing Burnley, and obviously, Keane, you were talking about earlier. That was a turning point in our season. It looked like we might not even finish inside the top 6, and then we went on an amazing run, finished 3rd. And it was a key point for us last season. And Burnley, it's never an exciting game, really. No one ever gets buzzing for Burnley, or Burnley.
Except Mark Goldbridge.
Yeah, except Mark Goldbridge. I mean, but he gets excited for anything, the lad. Fair play to him. He's an excitable bloke. But it's not the most exciting of games. It's not the most exciting ways to spend your Sunday afternoon. However, we've got to watch the team. And, I mean, Ames, what do you think of this one? Do you think we're going to just storm home? Or, I mean, we've struggled at home this season. It could be a bit of a tricky one for us.
Yeah, well, I was having nightmares for about 2 months after the last game I was at, so...
Don't worry.
Oh, I don't know. I feel like, when we're playing these teams, I feel like we always struggle and we always kind of force the mistakes on ourselves more than anything. So... I don't know. I think it will be tough on us, to be honest with you. And I think, especially going on last night's game as well, there seems to be a lot of fatigue in the squad. So I'm just hoping we can pull the win out of the bag, to be honest with you. And obviously our home form isn't too great at the minute either.
Yeah, true. I mean, Sean does make a good point here in saying that Burnley is a nice game. They're already safe. And sort of, that on the beach, that everyone's always made that point of, the teams being on the beach, they're already safe. They're not really playing for anything. I mean, Keane, do you think that could factor into it? Or do you think Sean Dyche will have him riled up for a game like this?
I think look, every team come to Old Trafford. It's like from mid-table, it's their cup final, isn't it? Like you seen with Arsenal earlier on the season, that was their cup final when they came to Old Trafford. Then they didn't win for 9 games after that. But like I think you look at Burnley. I think United will want revenge for losing 2-0 at Old Trafford last season. Like again, Amy said it. That was a horrible game, and looked like Ollie's job was nearly gone after that game last season. I seen this on Twitter there a couple of days ago, and they're talking about this Burnley game on the weekend. And actually, it really struck me, right? You look at United starting 11 last season when they beat us 2-0. And this just, I want to bring this point because we're playing Burnley this weekend. And people talk about we're not making progress. There's no progress, and Ollie's not making progress. So I just want to bring up this point. So last season when Burnley beat us 2-0, we had De Gea in goal. We had Wan-Bissaka at right back. Phil Jones was starting centre half. Maguire was playing alongside him. Brandon Williams was left back.
PJ, I haven't heard of PJ's name in time. Philly J. Billy J. What's got
back training as well.
Yeah, seen the training pictures this week, but this will strike you guys. We had a midfield pivot then of Fred and Matic, which started actually last night, funnily enough. Then our front four was so poor. When you look at this front four compared to what we have now, progress again, people who don't say Ollie's making progress, you're blind or stupid or both. The front four then we had was Andreas Pereira, Juan Mata, Dan James, and Anthony Martial as a starting front four. Now that's to replace the front four we have now. We've Mason Greenwood, Bruno Fernandes, Paul Pogba, either Marcus Rashford or Cavani up front. There's progress. We're missing Scott McTominay out of the team that day. We're missing Lindelof. We're missing Luke Shaw, and also Dean Henderson, who's their starting goalkeeper, which is likely to be the lineup this Sunday. So people could say Manchester United are not making progress in terms of getting players out and in terms of getting personnel in and doing well. Look at the league table. Look for another semi-final. Wake up and smell the coffee and, just give up on your agenda. That's all I'd say. But in terms of this game on Sunday, I think we'll get a United win. I think we'll go get a 2-0 United win with Paul Pogba getting on the score sheet and also Cavani again continuing his form.
Cavani continuing his form, mate. I'd love to see it. I'd absolutely love to see it. I mean, the sad thing that I think about that starting lineup is I'd forgotten about Andreas Pereira until quite recently.
He was playing right in the field that day as well.
Yeah, I remember I was at the game. It was one of the most horrendous nights of my life. And Andreas Pereira is only actually on loan at Lazio. I thought they had an obligation to buy. They actually only have an option. So that was a horrible piece of news that I found out. Their option is for 24 million quid as well, I think, or something like that. So there's no way they're paying that for him.
Send him on loan to West Ham next year and we get 30 million for him.
Oh, mate, if Andreas Pereira goes, he could go back into the squad, I reckon. Which is mate. Honestly, I know it's a terrifying thing to think, but
the club would spin it like a new signing as well, wouldn't they?
You can spin Lingard like a new signing. I think Pereira's only got 1 goal this year on loan at Lazio, and it's just, mate, it's horrendous. It's actually horrendous. But look, there's nothing we could do. It's in the hands of the verminous bastards that are in charge of our club. That's what we have to. Yeah. We have to just let it be. But in terms of your starting 11s, guys, I mean, I don't think there'll be many changes to the one that we had on Sunday against Tottenham. I mean, Keane, your back 5, mate. Who would you have in your back 5?
Same back 5 as last weekend. Henderson, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire, Luke Shaw. That'd be my back 5.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all in agreement there. Ames, are you the same? Same back 5?
Yeah, exact same.
Same back 5, yeah. I mean, and then in terms of our midfield, then let's go for just the front 6 then as well. Let's just split it like that. Ames, like, who are you going for then?
Midfield's a hard one because you never know who's going to play, but I think he might play Fred Pogba in this one.
Pogba.
Yeah, Bruno in front of them. I'd say Rashford will be back in. Rashford on the left. Greenwood right. Oh, I wonder now, will he actually play Cavani again? Probably not. I'd say Greenwood up front and Dan James on the right.
Greenwood up front, Dan James on the right. Keane, what are you thinking along that along those lines?
I'm going to go, since Fred's played the last 2 games, I'm going to go Scott McTominay instead of Fred alongside Paul Pogba. So we're going to get Mark Pogba this weekend. And then we're going to go Greenwood on the right, Rashford on the left, Bruno in the 10, and Cavani up front. May as well go strong and try to get as much points as we can.
Victoria's Secret there makes a great point about Andreas Pereira. I think we'd be lucky to get 24 quid for him, let alone 24 mil. You're bang on, mate. You're bang on. Honestly, I don't know. It used to frustrate me that he used to get so much game time at United. But luckily, we don't have to worry about that anymore because we've got a beautiful Portuguese man that is called Bruno Fernandes, and he will not let Andreas Pereira ever start a game for the club. But so I'm in sort of in agreement with yourself, Keane. I think somebody will come in just because I have the volume of games that Fred has played at the minute. So I'd say you do see a McPogba, which sounds like a brilliant Scottish footballer, and Bruno playing in front of them. And I do think Cavani will start just because he got off around sort of the 65, 70 minute mark against Granada. So I think that was in preparation for the weekend. So him through the middle with Greenwood and Rashi either side, because Rashi will play even though he is injured. The poor man. He's the dedication from him is unbelievable. I mean, Jose Mourinho would love him because he wants a player to play regardless of his health or injuries or whatever's wrong with him. And that brings us on to the next point. Keith, what did you think about Pogba's lovely interview today, slandering the once great Jose Mourinho?
Oh, I woke up this morning, right? It was Friday. I was happy, it's the weekend and United are back on the screen and it's FA Cup weekend. And then I look on Twitter and Sky Sports have a full 2 minute and 45 minute interview from Paul Pogba. I'm like, Jesus Christ, what's this? Something I love watching United. And then he's slandering Mourinho, taking him to fucking town and basically saying he's Ollie in as well. And it was just absolutely fantastic. And again, we all know who the real virus was. I said this earlier on. The real virus was Jose Mourinho. Looking at the players he slandered, looking at the players' confidence he killed at that football club. And then Paul Pogba coming out to say, or like vindicating what we already knew anyway, is that he's an absolute bastard and he's finished. And I'd be interested to see what Jose Mourinho comes out today and says in his post-match press conference or post-match interview. Hopefully Spurs get bet tonight. I just want nothing more to see that man fail. I said this on Adam's show last week, not even the agenda. It's not even the agenda. It's just the stuff he done.
I mean, he did do a lot of shit, but to be fair to him, he did give us a couple of good days out. I mean, I know you were at the League Cup final. I was in Stockholm as well. Like, he did give us some good days out as well. At the same time, it wasn't all bad.
If you look at them days out, right? Look at the run-ups them days out. Mourinho got very lucky. Celta Vigo, Rostov, fucking who else did he play? Anderlecht in Europa League.
Anderlecht, Rostov,
look at Ollie's run. AC Milan, Real Sociedad, Granada. Tell me which one is harder. Is Ollie's one all the way? Yeah. But and like Mourinho bet Southampton to win the EFL Cup, and he was lucky that day.
To be fair, we made hard work of the Anderlecht game, the Celta Vigo game, the Rostov game. We did make hard work of all of those knockout rounds. So yeah, no, I see your point. To be fair, man.
Yeah, it just doesn't take away the fact I think he's finished. And look, again, I just want to see that man get sacked at the end of the season, and he ends up managing, God forbid, either Faroe Islands or Gibraltar or someone that's his level now.
I reckon he'd probably get the Ireland job, mate.
He'd probably suit us to be like Trapattoni 2.0.
He'd probably do a better job for us than Stephen Kenny at the minute.
Yeah.
I mean, Ames, what do you think? I personally think that Mourinho is going to win the League Cup and get a statue outside of Tottenham. And a lot of my mates are Tottenham fans and thought he was going to be the second coming of God. So it's quite like to see him stick around for a couple of years. What are you thinking?
I think he's finished as well, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I was so delighted that Pogba came out and finally said something, because obviously it takes a lot of guts to go out and say something like that about a manager. But look, he did the same thing to Luke Shaw, like downgraded him so much, and look what he's doing with Dele Alli at the minute as well. So I think he just doesn't get on with other players that have big egos as well. Just clashes with them. So I just think a bad manager, bad person in general. I think if he's not finished managerial wise, but I think he is finishing the league.
Finishing the league. I mean, there's a lot of talk about sort of a move to international management, maybe the Portuguese national team.
Away from Portugal. He can stay away from Bruno Fernandes. He can stay away from him. I don't want him playing left back.
I don't think he'll move Bruno into left. I feel like, look, he is who he is, and he likes players that regardless of their injury, they'll try and play on for him. Like, even anyone that's it's just rules with an iron fist, and that's it. He doesn't know when to sort of put the arm around them, it seems. But look, that's enough about him anyway. And let's talk about the other FA Cup semi-final, which we should be in. And I should be going into Wembley wearing my mask, but sadly, it's not happened because Leicester turned up, for the only time in the last 4 weeks that they turned up, and managed to do us in. And they're playing Southampton, and I can't see anything other than a Leicester win. I mean, Amy, are you in the same boat as me, or do you think Southampton could pull something out of the bag?
Yeah, look, I think Southampton being quite they were good towards their season, but they definitely dropped off. But to be honest, I don't see anything more than Leicester win here either.
Leicester win. I mean, Keno, mate, is it going to be a Jamie Vardy masterclass, or is James Ward-Prowse going to whip something into the top corner like he seems to do on a very regular basis?
I think, look, it's a cup game. Anything can happen. Like in the semi-final, kind of form goes out the window. I think we've seen that ourselves in the last kind of couple of years, that anything can happen in the semi-final. But look, I think Leicester have enough individual quality to win the game. But in saying that, obviously, Dave James Ward-Prowse, obviously they've enough players themselves, Southampton, to cause a threat. But if I'm being honest, I see nothing more than the Leicester win. I think I'll go 3-1 Leicester. I think Ward-Prowse will score for Southampton.
3-1 Leicester and a Ward-Prowse worldie into the top bins. That's what Keno is going for. I mean, I could see it being a bit of a tight game, to be honest. I could see it going to extra time and then Vardy getting a goal with like 2 minutes to go. Just like a last-minute goal, and everyone's going absolutely mental. And everyone loves Leicester because of that story a couple of years ago, obviously. And, it'd be nice to see them.
Harry Maguire.
Exactly. They sold us Harry Maguire for £80 million, and they're going to sell us. They're probably going to sell us Maddison at some point, or they're going to sell us someone again at some point, I'd say. And I mean, they took our shite for loads of years. I mean, Matty James, Danny Drinkwater, they just took our youth player. Our shite is very harsh there. Sorry, I do apologise about that one. But our youth players that possibly weren't going to make the cut at Premier League level, and Danny Drinkwater, Premier League winning midfielder for them. So, I mean, we've done them a few favours as well. So it'd be nice to see them win. But we move on to Monday now because of the way the fixtures have gone mental this weekend. And it's Leeds versus Liverpool. And I mean, Keane, I don't know about you, but I'm not a big fan of either of these clubs. But I'd love to see Bielsa absolutely tear Jurgen Klopp a new arsehole, wouldn't you?
This game is like asking which man do you want to nick your wife like. Do you know what I mean? 2 absolute pieces of trash, both clubs. But to be fair, if you ask me who do I want to see get bet more, it's obviously Liverpool. Their fans have been sent right back down to reality this season. And again, it was the most entertaining 0-0 I've watched ever the other night. Watching their souls get ripped out. But look, I'm gonna go 2-1 Leeds, and we get a. Actually, I don't even know who plays for him. Rafinha will score.
Rafinha, Patrick Bamford, who was going to get called up for Ireland before he scored a few goals in the Premier League. You got that one as well. He just, mate, honestly, he was delaying the call up. Then he got a few Premier League goals. There was no chance. I was fuming. But Ames, I mean, do you think it's going to be a Bielsa ball masterclass, or is Jurgen Klopp going to try and gain a bit of his mojo back in this one?
I'd prefer to see Leeds win it, but Liverpool do have a better away form. And Leeds are quite poor defensively, so I'm going to go for Liverpool winning this one.
Liverpool. I mean, we're talking about this. If I just at the table again, if Leeds win and Villa were to get a win, Arsenal could finish this week in 11th. Just a point to bring up again. Just because they love to just drop down the table. I mean, look, it's number 11. It's a great number. Tony Marshall had it for a bit. Greg Mason's got it now. You've got, I mean, Giggsy had it obviously for all those years. It's a famous number. So I mean, it's a great time for them. And we move on as well. And Chelsea are playing Brighton now on Tuesday. It's the 8 o'clock kickoff on a Tuesday, which is a bit of a weird one to have a game on a Tuesday, but it's the way the FA Cup has fallen. And I mean, Chelsea in good form. Depending on that FA Cup semi-final result, it could swing the balance of this game. especially the way Brighton are playing. I mean, Keane, do you think Chelsea will have enough to win this one? It's at the Bridge as well.
Yeah, look, I think Brighton, I think they play into Chelsea's hands with their style of play. I think Graham Potter is our open manager. I think, look, if Chelsea win, they're going to be on a high. If they lose, they're going to still be fighting for Champions League, which they already are. So either way, Chelsea are going to have to be up for this game. I see nothing more than the Chelsea win, to be brutally honest. I think we'll see 3-0 Chelsea either way, whatever happens on the weekend.
3-0 Chelsea. I mean, yeah, I don't think it'll be that convincing. I think I'm gonna say a 2-1 Chelsea. I mean, Ames, what are you thinking? Is a convincing Chelsea win?
Yeah, I'm going to go for a 2-0 win. I think Chelsea will take this one. Yeah.
2-0 Chelsea win. A concise performance there from Tommy Tuchel's Blue Boys, as they shall now be known. And we move on to Wednesday, which is weird because you've now got pretty much Premier League every day for the next week. But Spurs Southampton is the 6:00 kickoff, and Southampton could be going into that. Looking forward to an FA Cup final, buzzing. Could go to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and put another nail further into Jose Mourinho's coffin. And I know that the man below me is going to say that he wants to see that happen. Will it happen though, Keane?
Yeah, absolutely. Southampton are going to lose the weekend, so they're going to want to bounce back after being beaten by Leicester. So, another nail in that coffin.
Another nail in the coffin. I mean, Ames, do you think it's going to be a nail in the coffin?
Yeah, I mean, looking at both Spurs and Southampton form the last 6 games or so in the Premier League, they're actually quite level. So I think I'm going to go with a Southampton win this one too. I'll say a 2-1 Southampton.
Southampton win. Wow, it's not looking good for poor old Jose Mourinho. I think he's going to have to head back to the old Algarve to sun himself this summer because he is not going to be a happy bunny. And we move on to the 8:15 game, which is Villa versus City, and hoping that City can drop some more points, get a bit closer to them. Obviously, I don't think there's anything about getting a title challenge on 21. Won't be coming home sadly this season. But to get if you'd said at the start of the season the gap's narrowed, quite significantly to 8-10 points at the end of it, and you have a Europa League title. I mean, I wouldn't have taken the Europa League title to start the year because we were in the Champions League, but you got to play the hand you dealt. So I think it's not all in all not a bad season. I mean, do you think City can drop some more points, Ames, or are they just going to sweep Villa aside here and get back to usual business?
I wish they'd drop points, but I just can't see it happening, to be honest with you. I think they're just... I know they lost to Leeds, but I just think they're too good, to be honest with you. Yeah, I'm going to go with a City win at this one. I think it'll be tight, but I'm going to say 2-1 City.
2-1 City. I mean, Keane, are you thinking, you're going to have a masterclass here from Grealish? Is Grealish? I'm not sure if Grealish is back or not. No, he's not back. Well, look, we can have an Ollie Watkins masterclass here up front. He does Ruben Diaz in, scores a couple of goals at Villa Park, and gets City on a downward spiral. Do you think that could happen, mate?
I don't think they'll win, but I'm actually going to predict a draw on this one. I think Villa will score an early goal, and then we'll be all like, yes, one, that's 2-3 points dropped now for City, and then fucking Gundogan, the bastard, will get an equaliser. But I'm going to go 1-1. That's more kind of getting more hope and expectation. But nice to see City drop some more points, and we just took, I suppose, close that gap to show more progress.
1-1 draw. I mean, I'm inclined to agree with you there, Keno, mate. I mean, Bits is coming in there saying he thinks it'll also be tight. I mean, I think it'll be a tight one. I think it will end 1-1. And, we'll get a bit giddy. We could get a bit giddy. Then, if we win our game in hand, then it's 6 points. And that is giddy territory. That is giddy territory. I don't care what anyone says. I'll be getting giddy. Who knows, Keith? It could be at the point where you have to get a flight to Manchester to hold my towel after I jump in the canal naked.
Quarantine or no quarantine, right? I'll tell you this, right? Because it's unlikely, I'm going to throw this scenario out there, right? Now, if I leave the country, right, and I have to come home, it's going to cost me $2,000, right? If United win the league, I do not give a flying fuck. Just fly into Belfast and drive down. You'd be sweet. Yeah, either way, like, look, coming back into Ireland, it's going to be two grand quarantine, whatever way you look at it. So this is where I say, I'll take the fine. 21 comes home, and, Owen, me and you'll have the biggest session we'll ever have in our lives.
Oh, man,
hello, like, invite me.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's up to you. You want to pay the $2 grand fine? You're welcome. You're more than welcome.
I don't mind.
Look, that was Keane's plan. That wasn't my job to invite you. I do apologise there. I mean, I'll blame that on Keano. But look, if we finish within and around it, it's not too bad of a season. And then we move on to the last fixture of the game week, which literally is a full week this week. And it's on Thursday, and it's Leicester versus West Brom. And is Sam Allardyce, is he going to pull something magical out of his hat there? What do you think, Keano? Is he going to pull off the greatest of escapes with West Bromwich Albion?
Like, you wouldn't doubt him, would you? Like, he's managed to, every club he's at, he's got him out of trouble. We can do it. Go.
There we go. Big Ron is starting it for you. You'll put a few quid in, sort you right out. And it looks like a plush hotel. It looks like a plush hotel. It's not too bad.
And Ron, to be fair, right? The Liverpool fans do like a GoFundMe for Mbappe, and looks like they won't even be playing Champions League football. So if we can do a GoFundMe for me getting the $2 grand fine, I'm all for it, 100%. But yeah, look, I think Big Sam, he has a knack for staying up. But like, when you look at the points tally and you look where they have to play, it's a tough ask. But Leicester are also fighting for top 4. They slipped up last week against West Ham, so I'd see a 2-1 Leicester win. It'll be tight.
2-1 Leicester. I mean, personally, I can see West Brom going on a bit of a mad run. I mean, Callum Robinson scoring back-to-back games. I mean, when has that ever happened? And so I can honestly see a West Brom win here, especially Leicester maybe having the sort of that hangover after an FA Cup semi-final victory, which is quite likely. So I'm gonna say a 2-0 West Brom win. Ames, are you thinking on the same lines as me, or are you thinking along the lines of Keano?
You know what? West Brom are actually a tough team to play. Like, if you look back on results, no team has actually like gotten any more than like 2 goals against them. So they are, and look, they just beat Chelsea 5-2 as well. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 West Brom win.
Here's a stat. In the last 2 games, West Brom have scored more goals than any other team in Europe. They have scored 8 in their last 2. They did get a 3-0 win against Southampton as well. I mean, an aggregate of 8-2. I mean, if you'd have said that to a West Brom fan a few weeks ago, they'd have sent you into a mental hospital. But is Big Sam going to pull it off? That's the big question. And I think it is possible, but I think it is just too much at this stage now. That brings us to the end of the fixtures. But as I always like to, I like to end with a bit of a random question. But this week, I'm going to do a bit football related. What is your best European memory? Your best memory of a European night? If you need a bit of time, I'll go with mine. What is your best sort of European memory?
I have 2. First one, 2008 Champions League final. Being in the house full of Liverpool fans, that was just sensational. That was great to rub it in all their faces. But the other one is actually against the team that we were playing in the semi-finals of the Europa League. That 7-1, the 7-1 win at Old Trafford. Like, we were coming after a defeat in the Stadio Olimpico, and funny enough, 3 people from our coaching staff were all involved in that game and all parts of playing that game. Just to see us score 7 at home was pretty wild. So, just because in my lifetime, I could say 99, but I was only 3 years of age. Don't really remember the game as a young child. I'd be lying if I said I was. So, 2008 Champions League final, and then obviously the 7-1 against Roma.
7-1 against Roma. I do remember the 7-1 against Roma. I was in Cyprus on holiday at the time, watching it in an O'Neill's pub with my dad, going absolutely insane. I mean, Ames, everywhere. What's your favourite memory of a European night? That Wednesday night sort of amazing nights, or it could be a Thursday night.
I'm going to go. I have 2, so I'm going to go with a recent one. Obviously, it's that win against PSG 2 years ago.
Oh yeah.
I was in Manchester that night. Unbelievable.
So was I actually, yeah.
And then obviously the 2008 Champions League final. Obviously I was so young at the time, but it's just one of those games that will always be embedded. So, yeah.
I mean, we've got plenty of great European nights to choose from. I mean, Big Ron is coming here with the Juve semi-final 99 second leg. an emotional wreck, cussing United for being 2 down and then celebrating winning 3-2 in the end. I mean, obviously, I was actually in my mum's belly at the time, so I did not witness the game live. So, no, we have had amazing European nights. I think one of my favourites, I know it's a bit of a random one, obviously the 2008 was brilliant, but the Europa League campaign where we did win, I was being at both. I was at the second leg of the semi-final and at the final in Stockholm. And I just remember John Guidetti missing his chance in the last second of the game. And I've never been more relieved coming out of a football match in my entire life because I thought we were about to go out to Celta Vigo. I've never been more relieved.
That's why I said Mourinho got lucky.
He did get extremely lucky. And then that was my first. I've been to Rome. I've been to Rome and I've been to Wembley where we both lost. So first European final that we won that I was at in Stockholm. So for me, that was a very special moment. And going out on the piss and getting absolutely rattled afterwards with all the United fans in Stockholm. Despite it being £6 a beer, but it had to be done, had to be celebrated. But that brings us to the end of the show. I mean, Keane, mate, have you got anything you want to plug?
Yeah, so myself and Amy are live with Bits and Bobs at 8:20, and where we're looking ahead to Manchester United versus Burnley, and look, obviously reflecting on Paul Pogba's comments in the media today. So do tune in for that, and as you know yourself, there's always a lot to see on the weekly Armchair Kickoff podcast.
Always a lot to see. I mean, there's more notifications on my phone from that group chat than there is anything else in the world. But Ames, what are you? Anything else for you to plug?
I'm actually live on She Devils United at 7:00. So if you want to tune into that.
Amy's going live at 7. Key's going live at 8. Amy's going live at 7 and 8. I'm going live. I'm going to the pub, and Key's going live at 7 again. So good luck. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. I've got a bit confused now. I'm just excited to go for a pint. But Big Ron, cheers for tuning in, guys. Cheers everyone for tuning in. Thanks very much. Please do like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you next week.